What is up, everybody? It's your boy Nick, back with another video, and today we're getting back into this motorcycle. Now, if you guys haven't seen what I'm doing with this bike right here, then go check in the last video and see what happened to it, and then come back to this video and then you can see what I'm about to do to it. But without further ado, let's get into this one, what I'm going to be doing with this today. Alright, so y'all saw in the last video that oil pressure kind of took a dump, and this is my oil. Look at it. Sitting right here. You can see it. Oh, that's the rag. But you can see what's following the rag. Yeah. Listen, we're not going to talk too much about what you just saw. We're going to talk about how we're going to fix it. How about that? So, we might as well just get straight into it. This bike, it lost oil pressure when I was sitting it on the two-step, but the reason why it lost oil pressure was because when I tried to put the clutch in it the first time, I did not have the oil pump gear in it. So when I was starting it up and it was turning over and pushing oil through, it wasn't pushing oil to the pressure it was supposed to. It was just freestanding oil was just moving through the engine, which resulted in big fat 0 psi, and I didn't know why for the longest time until I decided to backtrack and I found it. But that's neither here nor there. I'm gonna get into it, start taking stuff off, and see how far we can make it through the day today, and then whatever I don't finish will come back tomorrow, because I need to get this drop down, and I only have a month and a half before March to get this bike back running and back together and ready to go to the track so we can race it this year, because I'm tired of this bike sitting right here, and we're gonna go some 460s. Let's start getting into it. So how I'm gonna work this is I'm gonna start from top, unplugging everything, unhooking everything, the turbo, the air lines, to bottom. I'm gonna start from top to bottom. With the electronics, I'll just have to pull back here from here, unplug everything, and then lay it back. This stuff, take it off, put it on the table, and yeah. So let me set up the time lapse, and y'all be able to watch me do all of this. So this is how far I've gotten. Alright, so I pulled that back, I pulled the fuel lines back. I'm gonna take a look down inside these. Alright, so that looks okay. Alright, so what I have next to do is to take the turbo and all this off the front. So take the header off. Then I gotta pull the clutch out. And then I have to take the sprocket off. Pull it out, and then the air shifter off and pull that out. And then, well, first I gotta take the line off the scavenge pump. And then, actually, we'll be close to having this out. That's the one good thing about having an aftermarket chassis. It shouldn't take that long to pull stuff out, not unless you have a chassis that's super complicated. Well, my plastics are super complicated, but this bike isn't. So I'll leave that as a, well, that's a good factor for me. Let's get back into it and see how far I can get. All right. Alright, I want to show y'all what I did on this side. I came on this side of the motor and I took the top mounting bolt loose. So that is loose there. I just took the clutch out. This is what I forgot to put in when I put it together. And that sits here and sits in there like that and turns as the clutch spins. Now this is the bearing. I mean, this is my clutch basket. Looks good. This is my inner hub. All my bearings. Now I do see that in the bottom of the engine. But everything else looks pretty good. That right there is what I need to get to. So I have to take the motor out and drop it, split the case, and see what my bearings look like. All right, so I've taken the valve cover off. I got the piston stop in it, stopped just before top dead center. And I've got all my covers off. I got the zip ties on my cams just in case I have to take the chain off down there. I still have it right up top. And we'll get into splitting it. I gotta take this off, this wire right here. I gotta take that off. I gotta take this off, these bolts. I gotta take the starter off. And then we gotta flip it over. Well, let me see. I think everything's done on this side. No. I do not have to take that off. Not that. That can stay. So, nothing else has to be done over here. And then, well, I'll start with taking those off, and then we'll flip it upside down, and then see if we can get to splitting it. So, I'll let you look at the cam. All right. Everything looks good up in here. Let me turn the flash on. All right. Take a look down here. None of this is new. All this is an existing motor. We just slapped it together. degree the cams with the base spacer plate in it. And yeah, y'all seen it run. So everything looks pretty good in there. I pressed these off and on myself. Look at that. That's dead center. Dead center right there. All right, so let's get into it. Just like that, ladies and gentlemen, it is apart. I'll have to do more if I need to take the clutch out. I mean, not the clutch. If I need to take the crank out, which it looks like I probably will, to get the main bearings changed. And then I might pull the caps off the rods and see what they look like too. But all right, let me show you what we got. So look, don't mind all this that FibG gasket maker. I wanted to make sure she didn't leak, and she didn't. She didn't leak around this seal at all. Yeah, but look, we ain't gonna talk too much about that. Look, there you go, your shift forks, and these are my bearings. These are my main bearings. I'll wipe it with the rag so y'all can see. Yeah, this one is cooked. Crank doesn't look too bad. One thing, I might just ended up have to pulling the rods off, see what those look like. But yeah, this one has to be changed for sure. And there are my letters. And look, there's no holes in the pistons. Rods look straight. So I don't know. After looking at all of that, would y'all say that my crank bearings, I mean that one bearing that you saw was starting to be wiped, would y'all say that that could have been my main reason for low oil pressure? Or I don't know. I don't know. We'll take the other stuff apart and see what happens with that. All right, so I took off one of my connecting rods. Would you say that this will cause low oil pressure? If I assume that if one is like this, then all the rest of them are like this? Well, I wouldn't necessarily assume that, but let's just say that this one was the closest one to this bearing. And you see that bearing, and you see this. I mean, the crank looks okay under it. Let me know if I was wrong for tearing this bike apart for 18 pounds of oil pressure, or was I on the right path? This is my first turbo motor, so I can't say I'm 100% sure. I know what I'd be looking for if it wasn't a turbo motor, but yeah, I just want to double check to make sure that everything is right, because I'm trying to go 460 this year. All right, thank y'all. Put it in the comments. I need your help.